Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead. And Brandon, I was thinking, we were pretty, in our San Diego Comic-Con coverage, I was thinking, okay, well, it was pretty negative, most of it.
Well,
let's just be really honest.
It's gotten to the point, again, where you see everything that's going to be revealed at San Diego, like, beforehand. Or in Marvel's case, or Star Wars' case, or something like that, they hold it off until D23.
Yeah.
Because, we got D23 coming up, and we're expected to get the full cast for the X-Men movie announced there. We've seen a couple of things come out since. But most of the stuff we saw come out of San Diego, outside of things like the toy news, we already knew was coming.
Right. Yeah. But so the reason I mention that is so you don't think we're just a bunch of haters and negative people. Well, today we have just nothing but love to share, right? I mean,
I've got a couple of nitpicks, but it's nothing that I don't love. I mean, trust me, I'm gonna nitpick, but I loved every minute of this.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about we're gonna definitely have spoilers in this in our Spider-Man Brand New Day review, and because I went and saw it last night, so it's fresh on my mind. And
right,
Brandon, I get a sense this. I hate to always jinx things, but maybe this is a brand new day for Marvel as well. Because
I'm gonna say
I was very happy, pleasantly surprised.
I'm gonna say that it's this mixed bag when it comes to it, because there was something you said before we actually went into it. I think that it's true about this movie, but it didn't take away from the enjoyment of this movie.
What was it that I said?
You had said that it felt like they were cramming too much stuff in there all at once.
Right.
And I would have loved to have gotten more time with the various actual Spider-Man villains we saw in the opening montage, like Tombstone and Tarantula and Boomerang and them. I would love more time with them. And I feel like they kind of got cheated, but it didn't take anything away from the story we got.
And I think they're coming back. I mean,
they have to.
Well, I was just surprised too, because I'm like, okay, how old is Tom Holland now? I mean,
he's in his mid-30s, right? Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and he still looks young enough to play Peter Parker, but I'm just like, okay, how long is he going to do this? But obviously, there's more to come. Yeah. They said so at the end of the post-credits scene.
Well, they said Spider-Man will return. They didn't tell you which one.
Well, okay. Anyway, well, Brandon, I want to just say something right out of the gate.
Okay.
This movie is a perfect example of why I don't immerse myself on the internet, and especially why I don't immerse myself in, like, especially before a movie comes out. I don't look at the cast list. I don't look at anything, because there were actual surprises in this movie for me that you probably didn't get because you knew things, I'm thinking. No, there are surprises in this movie that I was unaware of, and I'm chronically online. Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, let's just say, folks, and I'm sorry if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it and you want to see Spider-Man, you shouldn't listen to this episode. Yeah. So stop right now.
We're going to tell you spoilers. If you're listening on the air right now, kick it over to something with some music. And, listen to
our
us,
podcast.
Yeah, check us out on YouTube.
So here's the thing. Okay, when well, the reason I'm saying this is because you almost gave something away. About a month or so, maybe 2 months ago, when we were talking about Spider-Man, and even Max is interested in this movie, which getting him to the theater is impossible.
I don't see it happening, at least for another few weeks, until it's, like, empty.
But the thing about it was there was a character, we all know the Scorpion, we know the Punisher, but then there was a character in there that we didn't know. Right. We were saying it looked like some mind control person or it was a power that was sort of interesting. And I said, well, I wonder what villain that is. And you said, well, how do you know it's a villain?
Right.
And I was like, okay, now you're getting me thinking about something else.
Because I had a theory, and it was a theory that was widespread across the internet. But they kept telling us that we were wrong.
Okay,
and we turned out to be right.
Well, it was Jean Grey.
It was Jean Grey.
A young Jean Grey.
Right.
And actually, she was my favorite person in the whole movie. Dude, but I've never seen her use her powers this way. That's what threw me.
Well, Jean is, when X-Men lore, comic-wise, not necessarily, movie-wise or anything like that, but comic-wise, there is a moment, when Xavier first finds Jean, she had jumped into the mind of her friend who ends up getting killed. So she experiences that death while she's in in her friend's head.
Now, wait a minute. Is that like from the 80s or something?
That's from the comics. Like that's Jean Grey's origin story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So getting to see her actually use her powers in that form was really cool. Again, spoilers, guys. The idea that they used Sarah as well, when we don't even learn about Sarah having mutant powers until like the Phalanx Covenant, which I want to say is the late 90s, early 2000s.
Sarah's her sister,
Sarah's
her older sister, right? Yeah.
And in the comics, you don't find out that Sarah has a latent telepathic ability until the Phalanx try and infiltrate her mind and assimilate her, and they realize they can't. She kind of pushes them out.
Okay.
Because, and I don't know if it's ever come out that she knew she had these powers and she hid them, because when Jean's dad found out she was a mutant, he was very, you're no daughter of mine, you're a monster kind of thing.
Right.
So if Sarah knew she had those powers at that time, she wasn't going to share them. But I mean, there's so much great lore that you don't get to see in like the X-Men movies that Fox did.
Right.
And you don't really see them that much in the cartoon. But to see Jean actually use those powers the way she did in this movie was like, it was phenomenal.
And the actress Sadie Sink, she's from Stranger Things,
right?
Which honestly, I mean, not to be another hater, but I didn't even watch season 5 because I just lost interest. She was my favorite character in the movie. She's good. I mean,
she's an amazing
actress. She had
actress.
Great range. I was like, okay, this kid's got some chops here. So I was really excited about her performance.
And think about how much of a contrast she is from Tom Holland, even outside of the movies, because Tom always used to get in trouble for spoiling things that were supposed to be coming up in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
And she had to keep her character a secret.
That's okay, and they did it. So I mean, I think there were probably a lot of people like me that were excited and surprised by a lot of things in this movie. So we're going to continue to share the love when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead. And Brandon, it's nice to celebrate something.
It really is.
It's nice to come on here and have some praise and excitement. One thing I didn't mention to you, people might go, well, why did you wait a whole week why'd you wait a week and a half to see this movie? It's because it's been sold out every time.
Seriously.
And last night I barely got in. It was 3 tickets left, and it was an 8:00 showing. That one's usually kind of in between, and it was sold out. And so I mean, it must be making records, right?
Oh, it's busting records.
Okay, good.
It's been pretty awesome.
Well,
when I went and saw it, I saw it the Thursday before the Thursday premiere. That they always call preview night.
Right.
I saw it at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Because every other showing was sold out. I like to get in there on Thursday with the fresh crowd who are super excited about seeing it.
Yeah.
I like to feel that energy and everything. And I couldn't get into the initial showings because they were sold out. Luckily, they had opened up that 1 p.m. showing, and I'm like going, all right, I'll go in that one. It was packed.
Right.
And it was another one of those fun theatrical experiences I've had. But at least this time around, it was backed up by a tremendously good movie.
Yeah.
I've had fun with Mando and Grogu and Masters of the Universe and Supergirl, but none of those theaters were packed.
No.
And I mean, they were good energy. And they were fun movies, but they weren't anything where I would go, all right, I'm going back to see this in the theater.
Well, and I guess, and even though you and I aren't really that interested in the Odyssey, well, a lot of people were seeing that. For me, what I like is, we didn't want movie culture to die away, and now we've got a legitimate summer blockbuster, and it feels good, man. It kind of makes me feel nostalgic to see
and
this.
And I know that it sounds like we're bashing on the Odyssey. I'll see it when it's home. But I do not have the patience to sit through I'm going to call it what it is. It's a Christopher Nolan slog. Because he makes phenomenal movies.
Yeah.
But if you don't keep me excited in a theater, I get bored, I get tired, I fall asleep.
Right. Yeah.
And he burned me with Tenet, and I decided I would not go and see another one of his movies in theaters. It's the way it's been.
Well, so shifting back to Spider-Man Brand New Day, let me ask you something.
Okay.
I don't know that all of this was even shot in New York. Am I wrong? New York looked different to me, and it was in a good way. It looked a little more. It looked a little bit more like a neighborhood, you know what I mean, like than skyscrapers and shiny.
Right. I think that the cinematographer on this did an amazing job of making New York look different.
Right.
Everything else we see in New York looks exactly the same with the skyline, with the lighting. Everything just looks manufactured. And while I'm sure that this is still a manufactured shoot, it looked fresh and different.
Right.
And yes, a lot of it feels like he's in Queens just doing Queens things.
Right.
So, I mean, and we kind of got that same feel with Punisher: One Last Kill, where it was very gritty and grimy and gross, but it felt very street level.
Yeah. Well, there were things about this that because I talked to Max about this a little bit because, he hasn't seen it yet. But yeah. I told him, I said, I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised. For one thing, it didn't have the texture of a typical, I would say a typical New York Marvel movie.
Right.
It felt different, even down to the music. It had a little bit of a unique. It almost had a slightly indie film vibe to me, which I really liked.
It really did. It felt smaller while also creating a larger scope of the Spider-Man universe.
Right, and
the Spider-Man MCU.
That was the other thing I liked. I'm like, okay, we didn't get all bogged down, even though technically this is sort of a result of what the multiverse. That really wasn't it, and it wasn't also one of these universe-ending stories, which I'm tired of. But yeah, it was a little more neighborhoody that I liked. So.
Yeah, it felt like Spider-Man.
Right.
And let's be honest, we love the Tom Holland movies. We love the old Sam Raimi movies. We have a fondness for the Andrew Garfield movies, even though they're very dark as far as the city goes.
Yeah,
this definitely felt different.
Yeah, and also Tom Holland, that kid. I keep seeing kid. He's in his 30s. He's got acting chops. Actually, if I'm being brutally honest, I like the scenes with him and Sadie Sink the best. I think those two had a real chemistry together, and their performances were very. I don't want to, Brandon. It doesn't often happen that there's good quality emotional scenes in a superhero movie, but there actually were in this one.
I love the retread of the scene with Peter and Aunt May.
Right.
Where Marissa Tomei came back, she filmed the scenes, she did it, line for line like it was before, but she's saying it to Jean.
Right.
And instead, and it fits because, what they're going through. And there's just a lot of emotion in this. And again, spoiler alerts, guys, that last scene with Peter and Ned, when the muscle memory it's, and everybody's like, well, Gene must have done something to Ned. No, there's a thing about Ned everybody forgets, and that's the fact that he has latent sorcerer abilities, and we learned that in No Way Home when he was using the sling ring, and Doctor Strange sensed it in him.
Yeah.
But then the muscle memory to their handshake, I think that woke Ned up from the spell. But that's a thing that Ned will have that MJ won't.
Well, something's going to kick her memory. I would guess.
I think I would rather her.
Honestly, though, I don't need her in these movies.
I would if she's gonna be Peter's love interest. I would rather them basically start back from scratch.
Right.
Because she's
And then the other thing about that is, I'm glad you mentioned Ned because, there's this sort of trope, even in the movie Cars, like Lightning McQueen's best buddy is what's his name? Mater. So it's the old trope of the really cool guy is best friends with some dork, but Ned was not annoying in this movie. Usually he gets on my nerves, but I actually liked Ned in this movie.
Well, the great thing about Peter and Ned is Peter's not cool either.
No, that's true, but the movie's cool, and we're going to continue to talk about it when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead, and it's nice, man. I'm really it's fun to have a positive episode.
It's been a long time since we've had a genuinely just positive discussion, especially when it comes to a movie.
I don't think we've had this since Endgame, honestly. And even Endgame, we had our minor quibbles with that movie as well. But a blockbuster, big movie, good communal movie experience, and one that we can actually rewatch. And because I'll definitely be rewatching this one. But
I do have my, I'm not going to say misgivings or anything, but I do have my nitpicks. And
maybe we ought to get a few of those out of the way so we don't do them at the end.
I've got one big one.
Okay, what is it?
And that's the fact that as much as I love that Hulk fight, the whole point of Hulk being in here is to explain why he's not going to be in Doomsday.
I wondered about that. I'm like, what was his role here, actually?
Right.
I mean, he gave him a little bit of information about his Peter's condition. And that was fine.
Could have been a Kirk Connors moment, and we could have introduced the Tom Holland universe version of Kirk Connors.
That's a good point. Why didn't we bring him?
Right. But, we needed Banner so that we could explain why Banner's not available during Doomsday.
Well, wait a minute. Why does this matter? I mean, at the end of this...
Because everybody's going to go, well, why did we have a big Avengers movie and the Hulk's not in it? Because that's what people are going to ask. Well, this movie tells you he's going to be in containment.
I'm trying to remember what... Okay. Anyway, and actually, this was one of the first times that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk didn't get on my nerves either. I don't know. It was like there was a lot of, I would say, reining people in terms of like, don't let them get into their whole... Just give them enough to... I don't know.
I loved the fact that we finally got to see that the Professor Hulk is much smaller than the Savage Hulk.
Yeah.
We got to see the Punisher come face to face with the Hulk, which was great.
That I kind of like that scene.
When Gene took over the Punisher and he's leaving and he's got that sassy little walk, that was hilarious.
Right.
Just to watch John Barenthal, Mr. Alpha Male, do that. I mean, and it's not anything on him. It's just to watch him do it was hilarious. But I don't think... Outside of that, I don't think that I have anything where I'm going to complain other than, man, I want to see more, the Scorpion and Tarantula and Boomerang and Ramrod and Tombstone, especially Tombstone. I love that character, and I think he could have probably done just about as much damage as they did at Damage Control. But I understand why they needed to, insert the Hulk so that they could remove the Hulk.
If that's the point, then I'm okay with it. Yeah. I mean, because he didn't. To me, it felt sort of organic why Peter would go to him and that. But my only thing, if I had any quibbles, I think there were maybe 2 or 3 scenes that you could have cut a little shorter. But it's not to say they were bad scenes.
Right.
I'm just like, that's a Sony thing anyway.
They kind of went a little long, but again, none of them really takes away from anything. I loved the insertion of Damage Control. I love the fact that we got to see William Metzger as opposed to, our typical agent, that shows up all the time. Bill Metzger is an X-Men villain.
Okay, so because he's a villain, because here he's portrayed as like this very likable government servant, and he seems like he's got a lot. Well, charming.
But think about real politics.
Right.
The dangerous ones are the charming ones.
Yeah. Well, that's what was cool about it, because I'm like, okay, wait, there's something a little too squeaky clean about this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to get into the end of the the climax of the movie, the final showdown. But they portray Jean as the villain through most of it. Jean's not the villain; she's the antagonist, absolutely. But Metzger's the villain,
right?
And and at the end, he escapes.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
he doesn't get caught. Bad. He's gone.
Well, this is a little thing, and I don't know about you, but one thing I really liked was I liked the whole VMAX thing.
Oh, dude, that was so cool.
Because I'm like, that's the sort of subtlety that, like I said, this was not a universe-ending type of scenario. No. This is more, I don't know, but the and I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But all these little details, I thought showed a lot of maturity. Like I feel like they're learning from some of their past mistakes.
Who was your favorite cameo though?
Well, you say cameo because, I mean, in terms of, I know it's only for self-serving purposes, but if you say cameo, he was literally on screen for 4 seconds. Was the who's the guy with the pointy shoes? Is that the tarantula?
Yeah.
Only because that was one of my favorite comics when I was a kid. I look at it, I'm like, that's a really stupid. He's got an outfit where he's got these huge points on the front of his shoes, which aren't. But
well, I mean, he's got points out, in other places too. But
I'd have to think about it though, because I don't remember.
So I think my favorite one is actually in the scene where he goes to Banner's class, and the character who is talking to him about mutation and everything. He calls her Cindy. That's Cindy Moon. That's Silk. She is a spider. She is a spider character.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
that's
it's like,
cool.
And it's like when he says it, I was like, hey, and then of course it's confirmed later on. It's like, yeah, that's Cindy Moon, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. But I mean, seeing Yelena was fun too, because I wasn't expecting her.
Oh, okay. From
and I mean, she's
Scarlet. Black Widow's sister.
She's got a little more.
Actually, I liked her in this movie.
She's got a little more than just a cameo role, but I mean, it was good to see her, and I love the whole thing how she refers to him as the sad man,
right?
Because we watched Thunderbolts and we watched her going through her depression and everything else, and now she seems to be like dealing with it very well, but she understands that Peter is. Lonely.
What's that actress's name?
Florence Pugh.
She's awesome. She's got something about her that she's got a real charisma.
Yeah.
Like every time I see her on camera, I'm watching her. She's got just this way of I don't know.
All
she's got
eyes divert towards her.
Yeah, she's just some people. They steal every scene they're in.
The fight we only see like maybe 3 seconds of it, but the fight between her and Mystique in the Doomsday trailer is probably my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah.
Outside of seeing Shang-Chi again.
Right. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
I'm a Shang-Chi fan. I think Samuel does great in that role.
Okay, cool. Well, you know what? And there's more to love, and we're going to talk about that when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead, and we've been, it's been great. I'm feeling great. Brandon talking about such a positive experience. We both watched Spider-Man: Brand New Day. You saw it last week. I saw it last night, and there's a lot of just really. I mean, I had a few minor nitpicks, but they're hardly even worth mentioning. And so I stayed. Because there is a post-credit scene, but it's different.
Right.
It's literally at the very end. You have to stay through it. It's not a huge whatever, but as I was watching the credits, I'm like, man, even the music in this movie is good.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's nothing about this was like a cookie-cutter Marvel movie, yet it still had a familiar feel to it. So.
That first chunk of credits where they're basically showing all these scenes from New York while they're rolling the first part of the credits was I really just enjoyed that. I kind of just sat there and it was just chill and groovy.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got to say, one of the things in here, if I'm being honest, I love the Daredevil series, I love things about the Daredevil series on Netflix. Then it was hit or miss for me on, when back now that they're on Disney. But this is the first time I've actually liked John Barenthal's Punisher. And it's weird that the Punisher with Spider-Man, that's not new. I mean, that's been in the comics. This played out really cool.
Oh yeah, it was just there's a story about Staten Island that they keep bringing up, and I really want to know what happened on Staten Island.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a running gag,
right?
How he saved him.
But it's also really fun to watch. Like we said, in the comics wise, there's a respect that they have, but John Barenthal's Punisher is one of the grittiest characters that has been introduced into the MCU. Peter's so bright, even in his most depressing. This friendship shouldn't work.
Right. Well, and
but it really does.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. They both live in New York. It's silly to think they wouldn't cross paths.
Right.
So the way they cross paths here is cool. I like how he takes MJ to the Punisher's headquarters to protect her. And I'm like,
the booby traps.
And he's like, man, you're slipping. How did you not see that coming? It's like a boat anchor falls on his head, or all these, or whatever that,
right. It was just, there's so much fun there, but they were able to give us a very fun version of the Punisher without,
they didn't,
without damaging his character, because when MJ sees the pictures of his family and she asks, we get to see that darkness that's in him because of their death.
Right.
And when he explains to Peter, it's like, you've got people out there. Do you think, it's like, this isn't something you sign up for. I would give anything to have my people back. And it's just, there's this heart-wrenching, despair to the Punisher that gets to disappear for a little while when he's with Spider-Man.
Yeah. It was cool. And also, I'll just say this, we're dealing in spoilers. At the end of the movie, Spider-Man's in the hospital. What I like, Brandon, is he's in the hospital because the Punisher shot him.
Right.
And and finally, this is the first time I've ever seen the Punisher with some remorse on his face. Like, he realized what he did.
Yeah, and I mean, he had said, it's like, either you stop her or I'll stop her my way. I'll handle this my way, which is kind of a mantra. You could almost turn it into a drinking game every time he says it in there.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll handle this my way. And when he shoots, he's aiming for Jean, but the spider sense hits and Peter gets in the way. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when he realizes he hit Peter and I mean, the kid's bleeding out, and if it wasn't for Jean, he would have died.
And he did it in a cool way. Like I said, with when he was on, when Tom Holland and Sadie Sink were on screen together, they were great, man.
Oh, dude.
And there was like genuine. Yeah. This is the first time in a while I felt genuine emotion at a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Like, especially that hospital scene at the end. Because, we remember the scene in, I guess the third Spider-Man when the city's having a rally for Spider-Man.
Right.
Well, it was kind of goofy, and then Gwen Stacy kisses him, and there's all that stuff. This was like very heartfelt. Like, they're all outside the hospital supporting him, and
it's like, I love when he the Punisher puts on the mask and is up in the window so that Peter can get out without anybody having any idea who he is.
Yeah,
because I mean, they don't know. But when him and that kid lock eyes, and the kid thwips at him.
Right.
And he thwips back. It's
he sort of knows.
It's like, you're just sitting there and you're like going, that feels genuine. It doesn't feel like we see those superhero rallies in so many movies that just feel why did we even insert this? Oh, we inserted it so a villain can attack.
Yeah.
But there's just so much heart in this. Like when Peter's working with Jean DeWolf, and he knows she's got kids,
right?
But he doesn't know that he thinks of her as a friend. She's like, we're not friends, we work together, and he doesn't know the kids' names. But by the end of it, he knows the kids' names, and he sent her to talk to Yelena. So of course, she got to the spa, and it's just humanity. You don't see humanity in so many superhero movies.
Actually, I was going to say one thing. I'm glad you mentioned her because she's the detective. She's almost like the Commissioner Gordon version of Batman. And Spider-Man was being a detective in this movie.
Oh, dude.
And he had a headquarters. And what I also thought was really smart was basically they gave him people to talk to. Even his suit is enhanced now, where he's got a built-in computer, and he's talking to his computer. I'm like, okay, that's important because it gives him somebody to talk to, and we can hear his thoughts.
And we get to see Peter's genius. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, he develops the technology to suppress his spider hormones, which we didn't get into. You guys need to see the movie to understand it best. But that's also the technology that's going to be used in those collars that suppress mutant powers. He used it on Jean to take her out, and it was there's so much in this movie that feels like Spider-Man.
Well, and if this is what Marvel and Sony are thinking about these days, I'm going to be more excited about the stuff they're putting out. So well done, Spider-Man, brand new day. I'm glad you're cleaning up at the box office, and that give us some more. Give us more of this. All right, Brandon, but not today because we got to get out of here. The show's over. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
And I am Brandon Olmsted, and asking Sony, where's Beyond the Spider-Verse now?